Hi everyone, it's Gwendolyn, your desperate housewife who crafts. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful drink paper coasters using stamps from Altenew and watercolors and markers. So this is part of the level 2 assignment of my Altenew Educator Certification program. And during this program I have learned so many new techniques and ways to use my stamps, inks, watercolors, markers. I have grown incredibly as a card maker since I started. So as I said, I'm going to show you how I made these coasters, these paper drink coasters, using markers, using watercolors, and using the beautiful stamps from Altenew, the beautiful flower stamps, because I love painting flowers, and the stencils. So let's get onto it, shall we? So I got these paper coasters online. You can get them from Amazon, I guess, and they came in hundreds for the one I ordered. And they're very absorbent. They're quite thick, but they're very absorbent. So today I'm going to show you ways you can use them just naturally without any coating. So this is where it's the most absorbent. Or you can coat it, which I did with gesso, and this will give you a surface much like watercolor paper, so allow you to blend your watercolors much easier. So now I'm going to show you the difference between using the coasters prepared with gesso and one which is not. So the top one has been prepared with gesso and the bottom one has no preparation at all. So I'm using my Hibiscus watercolor markers to put down some watercolors on the coaster without any preparation, so it's just raw, and as you can see it's nearly impossible to blend on it because it's so absorbent. It just absorbs all the paint immediately and dries, and then it doesn't move. Now the top one with the gesso preparation, I put down the same amount of paint. As you can see, it works just like a normal watercolor paper. So this is ideal if you want to have the same effects of watercolor and be able to blend and spread the paint. So that's the difference. On the left, without any preparation, but you can still do wonderful things with it, like this coaster. So now I'm going to speed up the video and show you how I created the coaster, the one without any gesso preparation on it. Now I first started by stamping my stamp with a stamping tool. I'm not sure why I did that. I think I must have been a bit confused because I could have just stamped my stamp directly with the ink from Altenew. So as you can see, it didn't transfer a lot of ink, and I learned my lesson and I stamp the next stamp directly with the Altenew inks. And as you see, it works like normal paper. It transfers the ink normally. So I decided to create a nice springy theme because I'm quite fed up of winter over here in Germany, and I added some flowers and butterflies and started watercoloring. Now I'm not sure if you can see very well, but the watercolor that I put down does not move, does not really spread. So the moment I put it down, it just gets soaked into the paper coaster. So once I finish putting down a wash of watercolor, I'm going to go over all the stamps with alcohol markers, my Spectrum Noir Illustrator alcohol markers. So to know where to put the lines, it was quite easy. I just followed the template of the stamps, the design of the stamps. So I have the stamps beside me, as you can see, and I'm just looking at the stamps and to know where to put the lines and the marks. I'm going to leave you with more music now as I finish doodling on my stamps. So before I blended in my background using a stencil from Altenew, I covered my images using masks that I fussy cut from post-it notes. So I couldn't cover the little leaf that I drew in myself, so I had to be very careful of not blending over it. Once I placed the stencil on, I just blended in the background with the blending tool, and voila, that was done. Now once you're happy with the design on the coaster, you can seal it and make it waterproof by using a gloss varnish. You just have to spray it on once the coaster is completely dry. Spray on the varnish and leave it to dry, and then you can use it as drink coaster and the color will not move. Now I'm going to show you how to make a coaster using the coaster that was first prepared by Gesso. I'm using Altenew Beautiful Flower stamps again, and this time I'm using a stencil which I made by die cutting, by using a full die cut plate from Altenew on paper, and then I created a stencil, as you can see. So I'm trying to decide what the layout of my coaster will be before stamping down the images. Once I've laid down all the images where I want them to be, I'm going to start painting the background. Now, I'm not going to paint a very smooth background because I want a streaky effect. So this will be very easy to do for beginners also, to watercolors. You don't have to blend in the whole background perfectly. So as you can see, I'm just putting down a wash of color and then going over it with streaks of a darker color, a slightly darker color, to create the streaky look. I'm using Daniel Smith watercolors, but you can use anything, any other watercolors or any other materials to create, any inks to create this watercolor background. You can stamp your inks on an acrylic block, spritz some water on it, and then just use it for your background. So now I'm going to put on some music and let you relax and enjoy the rest of the painting process. I'll come back after I've painted the flowers before I put in the stencil. So once I was happy with the way I watercolored the flowers and the coaster was completely dry, I started on the background using a stencil I had made from an Altenew die. I wanted to give the flower from the stencil the same, almost the same color as the color I painted the flowers, but you can use any color that you like. And so I used an orangey color and went over it with a yellow so that it would blend in a bit more in the background. I did the same at the bottom, first blending in a little bit of yellow for the highlights before I blended in the darker orangey color for the rest of the flower. Then I went over it again with the yellow distress ink so that it would blend in nicely. I went over the whole coaster with the yellow so that everything would have a nice vintagey sort of feel. And that my coaster was done. So you can see the two different types of coasters that you can make. One with the gesso to make it feel like watercolor paper, and the other one without gesso, just a raw paper coaster. And you can make two beautiful different coasters from them. I added just a little bit of detail in the middle of the flowers. And sorry, my camera is having problems trying to zoom in and out of my images. Well, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial on how to make beautiful drink coasters using your stamps, watercolors, and markers. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, please. Thanks for watching. Bye!